What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Unterzee. My name is Splattercat. Happy to have you here today as we hang out in Codex up north before we swing kind of southeast-ish. And once we do that, we'll kind of try to make our way down to Port Carnelian and probably the Mouth of Hell and all that kind of stuff. Or the Brass Council or whatever the hell it's called. It's been a while since I played Fallen London. But let's check out Codex. Codex, a desperate cave full of mute exiles and an inexplicable colony of shivering, bad-tempered monkeys. We can compile a port report. No one is going to speak, so it's going to be a challenge. The exiles see many come, fewer leave. Some are even willing to communicate, but their gestures are unfamiliar, the meanings unclear. Even when you can understand, there are answers without these are answers without questions, as useless as a key without a lock. Okay. I think there's a map in game too. Yes, indeed there is. And so what I would highly suggest is that we just take the terror hit. And since we have enough fuel, what I would suggest is that we swing southeast, and we try to discover as many things as we can as we loop back to London right now. Some people will disagree with this decision. What some people like to do, myself included, if I wasn't playing in a video right now, is I actually like to go in a clockwise fashion around the entire map right when I start the game. For whatever reason, it makes my life easier. We found the Chong Yi Rift, so that'll be nice to know. I don't know if that's a thing right there either, but you know what? We're going to try and illuminate it. We're going to try and find out if it gives us some free fragments. It does not. Okay, we are taking on Boreal Reach. Is the snow touch it in the puffs of available? Nope. You enter Stormbone, St. Eligius. Sends his fire to dance in the air on deck. Very far away, we see the great light of the Ragged Crow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out a Z-Bat right now and kind of see what we can find. There are no islands within your Z-Bat's range. That's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate because we haven't found Jack yet. Let's go ahead and swing around a little bit. Ah, there's a bound shark right there. Surely enough, if we could avoid it. Normally, these bound sharks only exist around certain land masses. And they are quite dangerous, so be careful about them before you get like a better ship and all that kind of stuff. We found the Labyrinth of Eels. Okay. It's not much, but it's something. In addition, it said that there were no islands nearby, so that might just be a bound critter that's just floating on its own out here. We're almost back by Hunter's Keep. I would probably keep pressing to the south. What's that right there? Oops, I've run aground. My apologies to the hull. I don't know what that is right there, but it's submerged, and chances are... I think that's one of those big angler things, but it's been a while since I've played before. It's been a bit. Okay, so we found the crab cake. Rather than risk my life, Pigmote Isle, so we can mark this on my chart now. Oh, that's new. That didn't used to exist. You used to just have to find it on your own. It'd be like, oh, there's something to the east. Oh, I woke up the chili floor. My bad. You can't. It's hard to be stealthy when your lights are up, by the way, in case I didn't explain that mechanic very well. The chili floor could cause problems for us. I don't really want to fight it that much. So there's Pigmote Isle right there. Pigmote Isle, as I recall. Is this the one with the guinea pigs? I think this is the one with the rats fighting the guinea pigs. I don't exactly recall entirely. I'm going to run from the chili floor because I don't want to mess with it right now. And if we can get into port, that'd be great. We can kill the Jilly Floor, by all means. I think you get a memory of a distant shore when you kill it, which is a pretty valuable piece of equip. But, or I'm sorry, a pretty valuable piece of trade, but if we don't get it, oh well. Let's see, there is a lonely desert beach. There is no habitation in sight, no market, only an old, rotting dock. A stretch of sand thickens into damp black earth from which sprout stunted palms, not quite tall fungal growths with frond-like caps as if someone had sculpted the idea of a tree from a mushroom. What awaits us? As you step onto the quay, you hear the clamor, shouts and shooting. You can see off in the distance smoke riding from beyond the hill, dots of fire flecking the horizon. Two tiny figures stand a little farther down the quay, unmoving as if awaiting your approach. The following is an extract from the popular diary of a Z captain from London to Irem and what we did there before we arrived, washed ashore on Mutton Island, and subsequently serialized in the unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. In which a delegation is made, a choice is presented, war is declared, a most singular treasure is sought by all, and a new empire is founded by tooth and claw. Chapter 1. The Delegation. The figures were rodents. To my left was a Ratus Faber wearing goggles, a blacksmith's apron, and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig wearing a helmet and a breastplate reminiscent of nothing so much as the High Middle Ages. The rat stepped forward first and bowed. "Welcome, Captain, to Rat Star Island. I am Edgar, second chief engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice." The rat stepped back at precisely the same moment. With what appeared to be the ease of a long habit, the guinea pig scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp. "Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Cavia. I am Lady Augusta Devereaux, Swinch of the Blackwater Swinches, Seneschal to King Gracelaw. First of his name, I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice." The two stood at attention, looking at me expectantly. So it's a choose-your-own-adventure novel now? So this used to actually be a real event in the game, and what's happening in the book right now used to actually happen to your captain. I think we're making a choice. We can speak to the chief engineer. His eyes had a cold glint to them, and he wore his scars like jewels. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. "We came to this island to make a home for ourselves away from London, its cats and snuffers, its rat-skin suits. We came to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, and our clever hands, and we made a beautiful city by the light of the rat star that shone bright, a blue on Mount Ararat." The chief engineer nodded towards the distant hill. "One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the top of Mount Ararat we plucked the rat star to be our light, our beacon. But the pigs of Cavey saw the light, and they used it, or they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what is ours, and we will resist to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them?" "Indeed I shall. Let us join him." "We will join the chief engineer. We can attempt to broker a peace." It's a possibility, but I think that requires you to have really, really good pages, as I recall. My words helped them reach an agreement. The chief engineer and the seneschal shared a look, then regarded me with scornful amusement. "Yes," smirked the chief engineer. "You're obviously much cleverer than us." "Oh, much," murmured the seneschal. "You clearly know so much more than we know ourselves." Apparently idealism would not help here. "All right, then I shall favor the chief engineer." You extend a finger to the chief engineer, who shook it grimly. The seneschal hissed and chattered her teeth in disgust, but kept her distance. "You've made the right choice," said the chief engineer. "Let me show you around." So we've now got fuel, and we've gained supplies. The chief engineer would lead me to the northern side of the island, skirting the chicken woods. We passed through a number of what can only be termed checkpoints, as fierce-eyed rats shouldered their derringers and saluted the chief engineer. Soon we came upon a small colony, larger or smaller than some of the infestations I had encountered in London flats. Perhaps only 50 Ratus Faber altogether, working diligently to fortify their side of the island. The first thing I noticed was a brilliant light beaming out from a stump of chickenwood about 6 feet high. It bathed the whole settlement in in a clean blue glow. It was almost too bright to look at. By its light I could see several raised mounds of earth suggesting shallow tunnels. An efficient fishing operation was set up by the water, and albino rat mending nets while others stabbed sharpened sticks into the waves. Further inland was a barracks, where a sergeant barked drills at a small squadron of fighters. My arrival drew attention, and several rats paused in their work to look at me curiously. "Welcome to Marinia," the chief engineer, voice warm with pride. "It's not much to look at now, but it will be once we've rousted the cavies. Take a stroll around while I summon the war council." And with that, he vanished into one of the mounds and left me to explore. Let's go down to the barracks. We were fighting impressive odds. I approached the drill sergeant and went so far as to salute her, which earned me a grunt of satisfaction. The sergeant dismissed her troops and offered me a bit of chickenwood jerky to gnaw on. "There's more of us below ground," she explained, "but not enough. The cavies are bigger and there's more of them. But we're better with our weapons, but we haven't got the stuff to make 'em with. Most of us came here as stowaways and brought nothing but food, tools, and fur on our backs. We can fish and we nibble the chickenwoods, but we can't quite make guns out of trees. The cavies come with their own steamer, and seem to have endless supplies. We raid them, sometimes, but there's so few of us, and we can never hold our territory gained for long. That's no consequence. All we want is to be left in peace to build our republic, and the Rat Star," she added, thoughtfully after a moment. "Of course. We want that, too." Well, we can visit the barracks. I approached the drill sergeant and went so far. Oh, never mind. We already did that. We can look at the Rat Star. It's not a star, of course, not really, but try explaining that to others. The chief engineer doesn't want me working too hard to convince them. Says this is better for morale, but just look at it. Look. She offered me her goggles, and I managed to work them over, just enough for one of my eyes to see the truth of what she was studying. Ah, it was scintillac, but unlike any I've ever seen before. Blue as a sapphire, but more brilliant. Something about the clarity of its color was tremendously soothing. The chief science officer tittered with pleasure as I handed the goggles back. Those of us who have been to the cavey side of the island and lived to tell of it say that there's plenty of glow there. Plenty of bright in the water all around, but nothing like this. We took this from the island's center, Mount Ararat. Only it's not a mountain, of course, any more than this is a star. It's hollow. There's sweet water inside, and coral crawling up all the walls of it. But nothing that glows like this. It's ours now, and no one can take it from us. All right, Rat's mending nets. An albino rat smiled up at me from his mending work, looking dainty and a little shy. Chickenwood floats, especially when it's dried out and sealed, so we're able to paddle out a bit and cast our nets. We've come up with all sorts of things. Blind fish, crabs, sometimes a chunk of broken tentacle. But the fishing would never be so good without the rat star. He beamed. I think it only draws good fish, keeps the scary ones at bay. I know the chief science officer doesn't believe it, but I do. That light is our livelihood. All right, well, to the exploration, the War Council. The bells of the War Council would ring, and I was summoned. The chief engineer emerged from the underground with a motley assortment of other rats. He introduced them as weapons experts, strategists, and field commanders. So, you're going to help us beat the Kavis, he said, a hard edge to his voice. But how exactly? Nothing to offer but advice. We can determine to take the lead. I have a ship and I have cannons. We would steer up to the southern side of the island and have at those uppity animals. And so it was a success. The rats gave me what information they possessed about the Kavi settlement, but I still had to improvise a great deal on the spot. A perfect storm of speed, stealth, strength, and arms favored us. Our cannons letting fly a volley of shot onto the beach before the Kavis would scramble onto the grounded ship to man its guns. Screams and squeals filled the air. The enemy would flee. A damp hush settled over my crew as the smoke cleared to reveal the torn, bloodied bodies of the guinea pigs littering the shore. A grim business, but I had honored my commitment to the rats and found a wealth of scintillac ringing the beach to harvest as spoils. So we got Hail Marinia. 2 houses alike in dignity, not that that's saying much. An occurrence, Pigmote Isle, might quality is now 5 adequate. Our occurrence, Pigmote Isle civilization is now troubled. An occurrence, Pigmote Isle spirit quality is now conflicted. We've gained 3 scintillac. We now have a bale of parabola linen. The house of Kavi had fallen. Marinia was triumphant. All that remained was celebrations and the continuation of the voyage. Oh, how we feasted long into the night. Then I interceded on behalf of the Kavis. They were crushed and defeated, but I would see their spirits broken without the light of the rat star to guide them. I needed to advocate. Or we could take a rat's favor on board. Let's intercede. Mercy is a property that the good Lord smiles upon, and since this is Victorian times, I assume that we care about what the good Lord wants. I appealed to the chief engineer's moral fortitude and sense of fair play. Perhaps the Kavis suffered the loss of the light from the center of the island. Perhaps they were only trying to get it back, not steal it from the rats. The chief engineer looked troubled but shook his head. You fought one battle, Captain, he said gravely. We fought hundreds against them. They're monsters, pure and simple, and the sooner we're rid of them, the better. Rid of them, I saw, by the light of the scintillac, a dozen rats were using the steam pinnaces supplies to build something that looked remarkably like a sausage machine. Well, rat his favor, then. The chief engineer wouldn't leave his colony, but he relayed my request to the people. The albino rat I saw mending the nets shyly stepped forward. I'm good at fixing things, he said, earnestly. I'd like to see more of the world. I waited for him to gather his effects and say goodbye to his family before accompanying him on board. We now have the albino tinkerer. The wide sea beckons, and that's all for now. The hunger quality has gone, and a new nation has been founded. There, you finish your diary entry, and the final dregs of the rat's surprisingly good wine. They line up to salute you as you leave the victory banquet, escorting you to your ship to the foundations of the new republic. Oh, it's a new thing now, so they nerfed that. So back how the game used to work is you could steal the rat star. Oh, you can still steal the rat star, but they've nerfed it. Oh, okay. It used to be very, very easy to steal the rat star. And so they've actually turned this into a full event now. And we can go to the rat ghetto. Or no, the Kavi ghetto. Marinia has not been kind to its enemies. Survivors of the war have been sent to this swamp where they ponder their failure. Rat guards patrol from atop a spiked wall, passing time by pelting mud-slicked guinea pigs with sharp rocks. Smuggle food into the ghetto. Successful. Improve their spirits. Kavis have little to offer. Okay. Attempt to broker a union. It's a high-risk challenge. Spirit quality is not very high yet. Or we can assist the Kavi revolution. Give us your cunning. Help you steal the lady's eye. The loss will crush their resolve. Guarantees you the rat star, but you lose 5 veils. I don't think I'm down for that. So here, we'll give them supplies. The delivery coincides with the inspection by the rats. The ranking engineer is willing to search even the hairless advisor for contraband. He orders the Kavis assembled and has the food burned in front of them. A pair of guards fan the smell into their faces. Better than the vermin deserves, declares the rat, turning to address the whimpering crowd. I hope you enjoyed your meal. You will see no more charity from your betters. It's unfortunate. Does that happen every time we try to do that? Maybe we'll come back and play around with that. We spent quite enough time here. I should think we should relieve ourselves of this place. Recuse ourselves, indeed. That or we could, like, bring Kitty. Not now. My ship's cat has, unfortunately, raised concerns about our journey. Not now, Kitty. Not now. You're a noble servant of the Queen. I know you are. Silence yourself and resolve. We make sail at dawn, which never actually happens down here in the sea, so I wouldn't concern yourself about it. Looks like there's an island. Oh, yes, the Bonnie Reefs. Those were actually quite dark. I couldn't see those. If we cut west right now, we could make our way to London, which I think might be a smart thing to do. We found Pigmote Island. Is that a place we can land on? Is that a thing that's even possible? Is this Pigmote? No, this is the Bonnie Reef. So Pigmote is down to the southwest. I would suggest that we make our stop at Pigmote. I don't know if that's something that we want Pigmote of or like less of, but we'll try. Our horror seems to be mounting quite quickly, which concerns me in the long term. Pigmote Island. Is this the funging station? It is indeed. And so for our mission for the crown, we need to stop off here. I suppose this would be a good time for a rousting jolly tune of Hail Britannia and all that. Or Rule Britannia, that's the song. I'll be honest. That song's pretty dope. There's a sort of pride about it. I think that's putting it lightly. However, the song goes. I mean, it goes hard. It goes real hard. So let's go ahead and complete our mission here. So, the INM has a funger operation here, felling giant Boligas mushrooms for building materials, harvesting Kirili for its medicinal properties. It's a desperate little outpost, or something like civilization. Up puffs the affable factor. Oh, hello, Captain. Thank God for visitors. We go quite mad out here otherwise. Quite mad. How can we be of assistance? We can give the pass sign to the affable factor. The Admiralty has asked us to bring back strategic information. That is your charge. Here, little to report, but we have had Connaught privateers nosing around. Tell them that the company grows suspicious. Mr. Iron knows the Admiralty is interested in its business. Pray, my friend, that you never have to serve 2 masters as I do. And then every time you come to the funging station, you get to make a choice. You can compile a port report. So there it is. And then you get to choose one other action. You can either take tea with the factor, which I think lowers your terror and lowers your hunger. You can explore the island, which leads to all kinds of adventures and random treasures and bad things that can happen. You can accept a volunteer, which gives you another crew member, just in case. Or you can gather supplies, which is a 60% chance. It could go either way. We don't really need supplies right now. I'd say explore the island. Let's do it. Close crowded thickets of Boligas and Skirili. The Iron and Misery Company fells them daily, but they grow back almost as fast. Rat Corsairs. Ah, the gully, the ambusher's favorite terrain feature. It looked like such a short and easy way, but now a sudden flood of black and white fur confronts you, a starving torrent of Ratus Faber Corsairs. Their chief addresses you in a piping, unhuman voice.
Easy there, me giants. We're in dire need here. Lend us help and we'll pay for it. No need to fight.
You notice this rat hand is on the hilt, or his rat hand is on the hilt of his rat cutlass. We can refuse the trade and fight. They're only rats, but they are a lot of rats, and they have what looks like a rattling gun. And they'll exchange drowning pearls for supplies to repair and restock. Okay.
You're not bad for a door filler, not bad at all. A pleasure doing business. Should ye ever find yourself beneath the floorboards of Lacan's glory, look me up, calm seas.
Alright, so apparently we now have a contact with the Ratus Faber, and we have 5 drowning pearls, which are actually really hard to come by. You need these later. Drowning pearls, actually, that might be for... Ooh, I'm not sure. Drowning pearls, I think, are for looking for your father's grave. I think. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you can make your way to one of these little light areas right here from one of the lighthouses, it'll make your terror go down temporarily. I say we make for London post-haste. Let's cut west, and then we'll cut south after making port in London. And once that is done, we'll head south. I know I said we were going to do it in this episode, but it actually took longer for us to get around. It's one of the downsides of this game, is that it takes forever to do anything. Like, you can be like 50 hours into this game and really only chiseled away like 10% of the content. This game begins once you get your second ship that can go to war with your enemies, you know, like your second big badass ship. In the meantime, however, let's make port. I regret that for right now we may have to sell the Scintillac and some of the other things we picked up along the way in exchange for echoes, because we're actually kind of broke right now and we could use the fuel. They have balanced the game somewhat, in case you were wondering. It functions a little differently than it did before, where now when you turn in port reports you get free fuel, which is kind of nice, which kind of takes the sting off. When the game first came out, it was really, really difficult to play because you were just always really clapped for cash, and then they've kind of lightened up on some of the roguelike elements to make it more of a narrative-based experience, should you so desire it. We won't be putting into port for repairs. There's no reason to put it in the dry docks right now. Let's stop off. Some things are too illegal for the customs service to admit the existence of. The ministry here are looking for those. We don't have any gift for the pirate kings. We don't have any red honey. We don't have any vials of red honey, and I don't think we have any love stories either. You shrug and invite them to search your ship as thoroughly as they'd like. They leave scuff marks on the newly scrubbed decks and take great pleasure in tangling the rigging. They find nothing more dangerous than a moldy ship's biscuit. Good. Collect our messages from the harbor master. Let's see here. The Rose Maker, or the Rose Market, or the Roser's Wharf. That's new. I've never seen that before, so let's check that out first. The Rose Market caters to collectors and eccentrics, anyone with exotic taste and the gumption to harass Z-captains. According to the archaic rules of the market, you can only make one trade per visit, so choose wisely. We can trade for Scintillac. The tattooed courier will pay well for a consignment of Scintillac. Her skin is crowded with bright ink and her smile is cocky. We can escort some interested acquaintances to the Rose Market. Or we could trade an unread log. We have Scintillac right now, so I'd say, hey, let's do that one. It makes admirable jewelry, she explains, but exceptional tea. 2 of the market's horse-marked attendants help her wheel the box away. And so the market is concluded, and we got 105 echoes for that, and I think Scintillac is normally worth... Well, let's see here. Scintillac is normally worth 80, as I recall. 70. So we made a good trade right there. Not bad. We've got crates of human souls. We can carry those around with us. I would sell the parabola linen for right now. I would make money at this point in the game. What we want to do is, like, urge our way up to, like, 10,000 echoes as quickly as possible. 70 echoes right there. Let's go ahead and talk with the Admiralty first. So to the survey office. We get 5 echoes for the information about Hunter's Keep. We get a favor. We also get fuel, which is nice for Vetterblight. We get 10 echoes and fuel. The farther away you go, the more money you'll make and the more fuel you'll get, by the way. We no longer have port reports with her, so we've gained another favor and 20 echoes. The Pigmote Isle, we've gained 10 echoes and more fuel. Very, very nice. Strategic information, which is always what they're interested in. Oh, Codex, too. So there's 20 echoes, 1 fuel, and favors. Hooray. Strategic information is turned in. And I think that will allow us to go here. We can submit the strategic information. He then gives us 150 echoes. We gain a favor. Ooh, I don't think I wanted to do that, actually. It's hard to read with those glasses, but he reads the summary intently. Satisfactory, he says, at least. Eminently satisfactory. Actually, good work. Take this for your trouble. The clerk will see you paid. Actually, I think we just messed up right there. So, vital intelligence. Yeah. So, if you get 2 pieces of strategic information, and then you combine them with, I think, your veils or your mirrors, you can turn them into vital intelligence. You turn in vital intelligence, and it gets a huge paycheck. And then you also get some cool stuff from there. So, it's all right. Anything in particular you need? Moves in the Great Game. Wants us to go to Wither, which is unfortunate because we're going south. That's to the north. We can trade our favors for fuel if we really, really want to. If we can get some moves in the Great Game, that would help out as well. I think that's actually what you combine the... If you combine moves with the Great Game with strategic information, I think it comes out as one of these right here, in case you're wondering about it. And so that's what we wanted to do. Let's head back to the story of London. Death hath no dominion. We don't have any of that right now. We can carouse. We can hire on crew. We can visit the university in exchange for, I think, a secret. Yes, indeed, the university has an inexhaustible appetite for secrets, specimens, and other tidbits of esoteric lore. Provide a secret to prove yourself worthy of entry. Indeed, I shall. You lost a secret. Oh, yes, the university's maritime liaison whispers breathily. Yes, this is quite the tasty one. Let me explain it to you. And so we actually gain pages for that as well, which is very, very nice. Now, while we're here, the alarming scholar is mercurial, to say the least, a creature of sudden moods and provoking teeth. Possibly her. Is it her? Appointment as university maritime liaison was precautionary to keep his, is it his, razor-sharp enthusiasm for causing too many inquiries in the faculty. Ah, yes, the scholar whispers breathily. I have a budget for acquisitions. What have you brought me? So we can turn in any of the things we've been collecting while exploring. The outlandish artifact I think we can use for something else, but it's also worth a decent amount of money, so if you wanted to do that, you can gain 100 echoes. And antiquarian increases, we gain a fragment. We have something like that, he declares. But not very like that. Interesting. I have some ideas about the suitable fees. Back we go. We'll read the papers, so there it is. The Continent is threatening war, and they always are. London's colonies on the Carnelian coast want independence, they always do. The Unterzee, the paper's report, has undergone another alteration, not yet it hasn't, you'd know. Oh, a promotional coupon from Mrs. Plenty's Provisioners for a half cask of salt herring. You could definitely use that. And so we get supplies and recent news. Awesome for us. We could rest if we wanted to make our terror go away, do some stuff like that, but not a big deal. Not something that I think needs to happen right now. We can carouse the Wolfstock. Oh, we got a new recruit. We can engage an officer, the haunted doctor. We can engage an officer, the genial magician, or we can get a new Zailor. I would say to go hearts and pages. We need pages quite badly. Let's go with the doctor. How about that? That's going to cost us, though, 50 echoes. Thank you. Is this mine? It'll do very nicely. Excuse me. I'm just going to turn up the oil lamp a touch. I dislike the dock. Appoint your new officer by dragging him. Oh, we've already got that. And we can now talk to these individuals, too, and they will give us quests. In case you want to make sure you pause the game whenever you're about to embark, by the way. It is a good thing to do. For officers, we now have ourselves a surgeon. So there it is, and he will increase our hearts by quite a bit. In fact, he will increase our hearts by 6 and our pages by 3. We also now have Doctor aboard, which will affect us when we do various things. We can also get veils instead of hearts if we wanted to. Might not be a horrible idea, since we're lacking in that regard. We can actually speak to these gentlemen as well to increase our hearts or ask him what he wants. What you want? He might say more, but a coughing fit takes him. Eventually he straightens up and wipes his mouth slowly with his forearm. You ask him what he wants from life. Farewell. He looks you directly in the eyes. Surely. He repeats it more slowly. See your lilies. He licks his lips very slowly, and eventually you have to look away. So we have to go to the Sea of Lilies in order to make his quest begin. We can also speak to the doctor. He's soft-voiced and courteous and rarely makes eye contact, but often stares at other people's eyes from afar. We can increase our hearts with him. I thought he did shit. I was hoping, actually, and one of the reasons you may... Oh, he does hearts as well. Shit. Should have taken the magician. He does mirrors. We have 2 people right now that increase our hearts, although I wouldn't get attached to the cook. Wink, wink. We can chat about science in exchange for 1 supply. Probably not a terrible idea. Let's do that. Sunlight is, in certain senses, quite literally law. Without sunlight, the Earth would spin off into space, and the absence of light down here means the absence of a dozen laws. Death operates unreliably, though more reliably on the Z, as you know. Geography is uncertain and shifting, and dreams, well, dreams themselves. He's grown animated, now seems distracted. He apologizes and composes himself. It was a particular interest of mine, luminosity, the anatomy of the eye, the many liberations of night. You'll, excuse me. This gruel is a little too rich for my taste. And he excuses himself. And so now that we've concluded our conversation with half-ocular Northern Lion, we have an intriguing snippet. Who I say, some will be interested. And so there it is. We're out of time for right now. My name is Splattercat. This is Sunless Sea, and I will see you all in the next episode where we go south to unlock a submarine. Hi to everybody.